take a seat. Okay, so welcome everyone. This is the 21st Sitecore Meetup in Budapest. That's a very nice number. Sorry about the hot here. It's a hot day, hottest, I guess, so far this year. But we also had four hot sessions with interesting topics. And if you don't know, there is the beer tab, actually 3 tabs. So if you stand in front of it, on the left side you have sparkling water, then the beer and still water if you need something. Let us know. And let's just begin with the first session from Tamás and Sebastian. Sorry.
No worries. Let me start. Yeah, I don't think I will need this one at the very beginning because I really wanted to start with the thing that it's strange to be here because 19 years ago, long time ago, this was the place where Sitecore started in Hungary. This was the place, actually it started during the summer, and it's strange to be here. And it's so good to be here because we have people from all over Hungary, from different partners, and from the UK, Germany, Slovakia. So we have like really everyone here right now. And 19 years ago there was nothing. There was an agency who was building the website on PHP, which was a really successful story at that time, but they really needed a solution on .NET, on Microsoft platform. And that was the time when the management of Carnation at that time found me, and I had some friendship with some of the guys. They asked me if I can help them to find the best .NET-based CMS. And I said, yes, why not? And this is how the whole story of Sitecore in Hungary started. And yeah, 19 years, it's a long time. But anyway, so today we are here to talk about something, something what Sitecore did recently. And originally it was only me who was supposed to be speaking, but Sebastian, a colleague, joined. And actually we are 5 of us from Sitecore here. So I think that's the only meetup when we had 5 Sitecore employees at the meetup. So that's also something new. So it's not just the 21st meetup, but 5 Sitecore employees in the room, which is really good. So we have Romana here. She is the partner and field marketing manager. She's responsible for the Central and Eastern European region. We have Christian in the back, who used to be sales engineer but now product manager. We have Gabrielle, who is responsible for commerce, yes, something like that. And Sebastian, who used to be a technical evangelist and technical product manager, not product marketing manager. So product marketing is Sebastian, and myself, who is looking after the community, which is always a passion. So 5 of us here from Sitecore, so pretty cool. And the whole Europe is represented. But we did just yesterday a product webinar where we talked about what we released. And so I supposed to talk, but I give a chance to Sebastian because he's much better than me. So I will just cover this one slide. So basically what we are talking about here, what Sitecore is doing, I think what every company is doing who is in the digital marketing space, try to make things more intelligent, using AI, try to help marketeers to make things done easier. And of course we try to help to optimize and based on insights, using some AI things, optimize the whole website. And some of these features, and also in the middle one you can see that without waiting on technical teams, I don't know, sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not, but anyway, so we try to make it more intelligent using generative AI. We try to help marketeers to get something done easier by themselves and optimize and go go through insights. And in every category there are a lot of things. Some of them has less, some of them are more. I think serving the marketer, I think it's really showing that that's the main focus. But of course AI is everywhere. So I think this is the point where I really want to hand over to Sebastian, but before I do that, I just forgot to mention that I do have a t-shirt. So the best question at the end of the day can get a t-shirt. We will discuss it with all the presenters who is the best one, but I have a t-shirt as a present and I have some Sitecore stickers all around, so take some of those. And with that, I hand it over to Sebastian.
Okay, so let's see if I can fulfill the expectation that Tamás thankfully raised high on me. So jumping back to that slide. So indeed, we have three main areas where we were adding new features to our portfolio. So it's intelligent content, self-serve marketer, market impact, and we will see demos or recorded demos basically on a lot of them. So if you attended either the partner June launch webinar or the MVP one or the one yesterday, there's a lot that you have seen already, well basically probably everything, so you can grab a beer. But I think the chance here today is that we can just discuss things. If you have questions, we can try to sort them out. As Tamás mentioned, we have more people from Sitecore here, so let's just dive in and start with the AI-powered capabilities across products. So we have launched Sitecore Stream a while back, and Sitecore Stream is the AI layer basically for all our products. So what you will see in the next slide is where or what features we give via Sitecore Stream to our product portfolio, and you will also see what products are supported with it. And that also means that it's not only Accent Cloud or search or any CDP personalize any of these, but we also have AI features now for Sitecore XP. So it's really our complete portfolio. And the first one that you see here is basically it's the ability to create long-form content. So you can use the AI Copilot here to basically create articles or blog posts or anything you like, and in the background it's using your brand guide. So if you are familiar with Stream has two flavors. It has a free version and a premium version, and the premium version also offers that everything you create through AI is based on your brand. So you can upload all your brand assets, and it will distinguish your tone of voice, the way you want to use images and all of that, and you can adjust that later on, and we will see more features of that. But that's all used in the background to, when you create now long-form content, this is all based on your brand. That's the whole idea here. And that's not necessarily just in the application of Stream that we also have. It's in the applications like XP, XM, and so on. Now the next one we have here is a feature that allows kind of project management, and we had that before in Stream, so that's not the new thing. But the new thing here is having project and task adjusted and created by the AI. So if you're planning a new campaign, for example, and you set up your tasks in Stream or in the workflow management here, it will, or it is able to suggest new tasks that you might have forgotten, for example. So this way we ensure that your project runs smooth, because maybe you're not doing it for you're doing it not for the first time, you're doing it for the second or third time, so then you're more familiar with what you want to do, and but if you're doing something for the first time, then I think that will help you not to forget certain tasks, basically. All right. So I talked about the brand kit that you can create in Sitecore Stream or also in the other products, and what we found out also by feedback that partners and customers provided is that the brand kit, how it's structured, is good. It's a good start, but the requirements of our customers and partners are basically unique. So you needed an addition that you can create subsections in the brand kit. So this is now possible. So I actually saw the mail today that this has been released today, so it's available now, that's true. And you can create now, beside the standard ones that we have here, like tone of voice, tone scenarios, and so on. Maybe you need a social media tone, for example, or something else. You can add that, and when all of your documents are processed that you upload for creating this brand kit, then this is considered as well and filled with data basically for you, and then you can go in and adjust if needed. All right. There has been an ask on, mainly by developers, to if Stream also provides an API, and yes, it does now. So you have the brand kit API is available now, so that you can interact with all the brand kit functionalities also via this APIs. So not only via the UI. So this I think gives a whole new ability to interact with those functionalities, and yeah, it gives a lot of room for new improvements or your custom functionality that you build on top of that. Okay, and the last one here in the AI area is that you're now able to also manage access for the brand kit. So before you were only able to access it being an admin, but now you can also access. Now a project manager, for example, can manage the access. Who needs to have access for the brand kit? Who is allowed to change something on it or allowed to view it? So that has been added, which totally makes sense. All right, so that's on the AI features. Let's have a look into each product itself. First, starting with the XM Cloud Marketing CMS. A feature that's coming very soon. It was actually planned for yesterday, but it's postponed for a couple of weeks, I would say, is the design library. So the design library, as you can see here, is available in XM Cloud to showcase or to show all your components, no matter how they have been built. Could be via the component builder, could be via a general coded way, and it gives you the ability in that first way to view them, but also to preview them with certain data sources. So a marketer has an overview about what components actually exist. So when they want to build new pages, they can go in here and have basically an inventory of all the components. But that would be just the first phase of the design library. In the second phase, we also plan to be able to create components here via AI, and also model content in here, so creating the content templates or content models from the design library. So that's planned actually to be the tool or the hub to manage and create components. You can also already, for the coded components, you can also see the code in here. When we AI generate components, you can also extract the code that's being AI generated, take it into your source code repository, adjust it based on your needs if it's not coming out as you want to be, and then deploy it in a normal way or directly use it from here. So that's coming in phase 2. What we have now is something like, is it a storybook, I think, where you basically have an overview of all your components. You can see what they do. Okay. Now we dive into a new area of enhancing the content experience in XM Cloud, which is the marketplace. And in here, we talk about custom applications. So the marketplace, I'm not sure if you've heard about it already, but the marketplace will offer 2 different areas. On the one hand, custom applications, on the other hand, public applications. What does it mean? Custom application is something that you as partners or customers themselves can build as a extension to the current authoring experience. So we hear a lot that XM Cloud, I mean, you can still deploy code to XM Cloud, but we strongly recommend not to do that because that might break the update process. So with the marketplace and the marketplace SDK that's behind all of that, you can build, in a clean way, you can build extensions for your content experience. And and the first thing we are releasing very soon is custom applications. So that means you as partners build custom applications for your customers, and you can decide if, on the one hand, if you build it exactly for one customer, then well, it's probably owned by the customer and it's only available to them. But if you build that if you as a partner build custom applications, you can also offer that to many customers. So that's all handled via the marketplace and a process of basically enabling that for different environments in different organizations. Right. Connected to that is custom dashboards. So you can go into the dashboard in Axiom Cloud and click on Customize, and then you can actually adjust how the dashboard should look like for a certain group of people, because not everyone needs the same data available in the dashboard. So developers might need other data than a marketer or a content author. So that can be differentiated now. And what you can see here on the bottom, so this is something that Sitecore offers out of the box. I think we have currently 6 widgets available for the dashboard. And then soon, once we are able to provide also those marketplace apps, this is one way to extend using the marketplace. So you can add widgets or create widgets for your customers and add them here to the dashboard. There are more extension points in pages, in sites. So in different areas of Axiom Cloud, this is one of them. And the ability of customizing your dashboard is coming also very soon. And then following with marketplace apps a little bit later. Okay, so embedded fields have been requested for a long time. It's a very, very simple feature, but what we try with it is let the marketer have access, or the content author have access to everything they need in one application, which is Pages. So Pages is the tool to maintain and create content. And what you can do is you can directly have access to every content piece or every field of the page itself, as you can see. So that might be also SEO-related data or metadata. What wouldn't be accessible directly from the page, also if you take Experience Editor, for example. So this way you can maintain the data here, because not everything is surfaced right on the front end. And also, let's just see, that's a very slow demo. Let me check. There should be also the fields accessible for each component then on the right side. Well, currently it's just showing that your data is being displayed, but you might know from your projects that not all fields from a certain component will be accessible directly on the screen, because they might select other items or something like that. So that all is already accessible then from the right side. So we have 2 areas here. We have the page content on the left, and then the component content on the right. So this way, all the content can be accessed from Axiom Cloud Pages. And another cool feature that has been released already is the AI translation. So if we're going, for example, for French-Canadian page here, and we want to translate, and we currently just have the English version, we can go into the content optimization and then choose that we want to translate it or simplify it with AI. And when we select to translate it, we get the languages displayed that have been configured for that page, selected, and then the page is AI translated to that. So I think that might not be always the exact outcome that you want to have, but I would say that's a very, very fast version to just get it out. All right. And another one in Axiom Cloud is site templates. So what site templating as a functionality has been offered in the past as well. So you are always able to create your own site templates if you want to roll out sites based on a certain site template. What we are offering very soon is 3 out-of-the-box templates that you can just choose. So they will be available in your environment, and you just choose them alongside with the ones that you might have created. So that these 3 templates visualize basically different use cases, but right now I would say it's covering more a quick demo case if you need to show that to a customer, for example. The idea later on is that you can also adjust those templates not only content-wise, but also color-wise and so on. Again, using AI, of course, but that's the future. So right now, or very soon, you will see those out-of-the-box templates in your Axiom Cloud environment. All right, just checking. I think we talked about that. That's AI translation or AI optimization. Yeah, I think we've seen it on the slide before. Yeah, let's just skip it. All right, and last but not least, and if you have questions to this one, so this is the content SDK. So everything shown right now was a lot for marketers, I would say, but we haven't forgotten developers. So Hahn and his team actually worked on the content SDK. Now, what is the content SDK? I could hand over to Hahn as a first-hand person, but he has another talk, so relax in the back for now. Maybe going back a step. So you might be familiar with JSS, and JSS was that, or is still there, it will not go away, don't get me wrong, is there to support XM, XP, and XM Cloud for headless development. Now, supporting all of these applications brings a little bit of overhead. So as it needs to support all of these, it has parts in it which are required, for example, for XMXP or required for XM Cloud. Now, what we wanted to do as XM Cloud and XPXM depart more and more, or separate more and more, we wanted to have a clean version of that SDK to build headless applications. And what we did is building the content SDK. So as you can see here, just visualized, that was JSS before, and this is the clean version of the content SDK. So functionality-wise, everything is still in. I mean, it's not supporting XMXP. This is XM Cloud only, but all the functionality that it supported is in there. But we reduced the code by 54%. We reduced the files by 65%. I need to read it. I don't have it in mind. The size has been reduced by 89%, but still, as I said, the functionality is at 100%, but that makes it much faster and much easier to build. All right, I think a very important one is XP. And also here, we build extensions mainly with AI. So when optimizing content, you can go, for example, into content editor and have simple AI functionalities, just like we saw in XM Cloud. So you can make the text longer, you can make the text shorter, you can fix spelling, and all basically covered with AI and improve the writing or change the tone of voice or something like that. Also here in XP we have the translation assistant, so we can say what items we want to, or what fields we actually want to translate into a dedicated language. So that's also available. It looks different, but it does the same job here in XP. And then another thing we hear is that not everyone is working directly here in XM Cloud, but marketers tend to work also in Word or in other text interfaces. So what you can do here with the text extraction is to basically use your Word content and paste it into XM Cloud, if I'm not mistaken. Into XP. So you can directly paste or use a file. Let's see what we use here. So that's a JPEG. Which has text on it. And that can be extracted then directly into content. So you can see a content item has been created and all the text from the image got extracted using AI into that item or data source item. Okay, so that's it. What I have to show for XP. Let's talk about Content Hub as well. A feature that's currently in early access is the smart briefing. So what you can do here is you can create a content or a campaign brief using AI, which makes it much easier and much faster and also very streamlined. And everything we know about your environment, for example, what images you have and so on, during the smart brief creation process, it will suggest you the right images for the campaign that you are creating here. And then you can add those assets or images that have not been suggested in the first one. And this way you have a very streamlined process supported with AI and create basically campaign briefs or any other creative briefs in a much faster way than you would if you do that manually. Also helps with tagging. I'm not sure if that was shown before. Yeah. All right. Another cool feature currently in early access in Content Hub is the guided search. So we showed you visual search, I think, already in February, that we have AI-related search. But now the guided search part adds that if you're searching for something, it will suggest you other search terms that might improve your search and therefore also the search results. So that's that will help you find your assets easier in your content asset management. Right. I should have, let me switch the slides for now and go to this one first. So, also in February, we showed already that we have automated AI-related tagging for images. Now we improved that you can also bulk tag images, so you can select a range of images and then start the process of creating tags automatically for those images. That supports, I think, the whole process of finding images because you are adding those tags much easier. Now jumping to the other slide, back to this one, connect your own AI. Another feature that's available now in Content Hub is that you can connect your own AI or your own models basically to have a very precise tagging mechanism. So our tagging is already fine, I would say, but you might have very, very dedicated requirements, or your customers have very dedicated requirements in tagging the images. So what you can do here is bypassing our AI and use your own basically to tag those images. So that's available today. And not to forget, of course, we have even more products like CDP, Personalized Search, and Order Cloud. Let's go into those. So first of all, that's CDP, I think. What we have there is a code assistant to create custom conditions. So if you want to personalize later in Action Cloud or use that also with personalization in other applications, you can create custom conditions, and therefore you would have to code this custom condition to see what it actually does. Now with a code assistant, you can just create a human-readable prompt and explain what you want to have, and that will create the code for you. So you can see you get a code snippet, you can preview it and then take over the code snippet, or also refine it further. So if you say, well, I need it a little bit different, then you get a refined version of the code snippet and then take that over so you can work gradually on that custom condition here using that, which I tested that feature and it's working pretty accurately and is really a great help for anyone who's not familiar too much with coding. I mean, you still need to get it checked and tested, but yeah, it does the job for you and saves you a lot of time. Now in Personalized, we have the same feature, but it definitely makes sense to also point that out. So also here we have the code assistant that helps you create those custom conditions. Talking about search, we have a new feature available with the premium version of Stream, which is the generative Q&A. So what you will get is in your when you search for something, of course you get your search results, but you also get a Q&A functionality right at the top that gives you a direct answer to your question. And yeah, last but not least, also Order Cloud got some improvements. So now multiple users can easily place an order together with one originator responsible for submissions and the ability to invite other to this order. So that basically helps you if you have scenarios where you want to bulk buy something at an online store, you can now build that functionality with, or you have that functionality built in with Order Cloud, so that multiple people can buy on the same card, basically. For example, to save shipping costs or something like that. All right, and with that said, may I hand over to Tamás again?
Yes.
Perfect.
So, with all these features, it's working, okay. I just can't hear it. So, you know, AI and cloud is everywhere. It's not something that we can deny. That's definitely the future. But also, you have seen that AI is coming to XP, and we just released 10.4 update 1 for XP, and also XP 10.5 is coming. So XP is not forgotten, even though less features may be added, but it definitely will be connected with all these different services. And also it's getting all the EAM functionality what we can add to the system. So that's one really important thing. The second important thing is that the last presentation by Attila will be all about AI, and he will really showcase and demo everything. So stay here for that one, because that will be a really good one. We will see. He's not that confident. But anyway, the other thing what Sitecore is also offering, that you know, different companies, different businesses have different use cases what you might want to solve with AI. And of course, Sitecore is trying to figure out and researching what are the most common use cases. But we also have an AI innovation lab with Microsoft, which means that if you have a customer and they have a specific use case, then you can let us know with the customer together and let us know the use case or the business case, and we can together with Microsoft, customer, the partner, and Sitecore figure out how is the best to solve that with AI. And we can, if it makes sense, we can implement that into the product for other customers. So that's the AI lab we have. The other thing, yesterday we launched Sitecore.ai. Actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's based on WPP Open. So that's the website. Go to Sitecore.ai, and you can see how Sitecore is imagining the future with AI. Yeah, this one was yesterday. But what I wanted to show you, the next one, is that many more coming. So you can see on the left-hand side that everything what we already shipped with AI and all the features what we are planning with AI. So we have a roadmap. We are thinking ahead. We have a lot of things to implement, not only with AI, but also the other parts. We have, of course, some things on the content and experience side with AI, but also there are new features coming. So it's really important that Sitecore is innovating in the cloud with AI, with XM Cloud, but also with XP. So the message is clearly here that we are relevant. We are here with not only with content, but also with search, with personalization and everything. So that's it from our side. I don't know if you have any questions right now, or shall we jump to the next topic? Questions? We have a t-shirt for the questions. Saying.
Just want to comment, if that's all right,
Yes,
because
please.
we don't see a lot of commerce, obviously, in these slides. But if you consider that the best head for your commerce website could be built with XM Cloud, then obviously you'll end up getting all of those features in your commerce transaction website too. I just want to mention, obviously, from Order Cloud's perspective, we have integration with Microsoft Fabric for the AI features, and that's out of the box, and it's easy to integrate if you need, or if you want to explore that. For things like Copilot or Power BI. But on the head, on the presentation interface, you can benefit from all of this if you are building a head for a website or other tools. Just want to mention, because you don't see a lot of Order Cloud in these slides, and but now I'm here at this event and I will be talking about Order Cloud, so I just want to clarify that very well.
Perfect. Thank you for that comment about commerce. And thank you so much, Sebastian, for helping me with this presentation. I couldn't have done it as you did it. You are perfect. years with Sitecore history here in this building and this. Besides these walls, I think it's a unique one. So thank you for hosting us here in Vienna. And yeah, let's go to the next presentation. Thank you, everybody.
Do you want to take a photo? Work? All right. Ready for it?
Of course.
Nice. So, the last talk before the break, I'm having some food. So we want to welcome you to our talk around content tokens in Axon Cloud. It will be a bit shorter because Mihai is missing, unfortunately, and we were hoping we can discuss his solution for content tokens as well. But we hope you have solutions as well to discuss later on. And actually, before we should introduce ourselves, and then we realized maybe it's a good idea. So we let ChatGPT generate some avatars which kind of fit together. Not sure if they really match us. So that's me. And we were thinking, okay, what facts can we tell you about us? Because actually, most of you know us. And I think one interesting fact is how long we are in the Sitecore community. And for me, it's 18 years. So almost 19 years as Tamás. And I worked as developer at first, then transitioned to architect, transitioned to consultant, whatever was needed. So I was called the girl for everything. I tested, I developed, I don't know, held trainings even. And today I'm freelancing Sitecore consultant. I've been doing this for almost 2 years now. It's going okay, if you're interested in that. And I think the most unexpected hobby I have is golfing. So I hand over to you.
Thank you. So, my name is Christian. I'm not that long in Sitecore. I'm working 12 years with Sitecore. The funny anecdote for me would be when I applied for my first job, it was not for as Sitecore developer. I applied as Adobe developer with Java, and the agency said, "Oh no, we don't need you as Adobe developer. Do you know .NET? Yeah, it's fine. Okay, Sitecore is your way to go." And that was my starting point 12 years ago. And the funny thing is, I saw Sitecore from so many angles. So I started on agency side as developer, architect, consultant. I went over to be freelancer for some years, worked directly together with customers, partners, very successfully. Then Sitecore took me over, like I was sales engineer in Sitecore. And now, finally, half a year ago, I joined the product team as technical product manager, mainly responsible, together with Justin Vogt, for developer experience and specifically for JSS, Content SDK, Cloud SDK, so all the more developer-driven stuff. I mean, the comment "living for coding" is funny because my manager asked me, okay, if you get 1 week of free time and do whatever you want, what would you do? And I said, I just develop some cool stuff. It's like I'm a developer still, so that's cool.
All right. So our agenda for today is, first of all, we will speak about what are content tokens and what are we talking about today. And then how it was solved in the past, because most of us are coming from the XP world and we have a certain impression how we should solve it. And this has changed, obviously, with the headless implementation. So we're going into details on why might it be a problem today and what are the possible solutions. We brought a demo, so pray to the demo gods, but we have a prepared video. And in the end, we would love to discuss with you the pros and cons for the solutions we will introduce you to, but also hear your experience, because content tokens is usually something we all come across in our projects. So we would love to have an interactive discussion. With that said, content tokens, at least in the sense of our talk today, are either placeholders in terms of I want to put a placeholder in a text and it should represent a phrase or a word which should be written the same all the time. A classic example is email. I don't know how many forms of email you know, but I know at least 5 in Germany. And usually the clients want to have email or address in a certain way written, and that's the classic example, at least in our case. The second one is also a placeholder, but in that case you have a token, and this token is changed with content from a third-party system. It can be any API, it can be something else, but you have to display certain values from other systems, and therefore you also need placeholders or tokens. How was it solved in the past? So in SXA, so SXA came with the feature which could be enabled. So we were able to patch the config, which introduced a new random field pipeline, and we were able to put these dollar something tokens, you know them from $now, $date, $name, which are pre-built into Sitecore, and then SXA introduced, based on that, tokens which we can place into rich text editor. We could place them into our text fields, and then have this random field pipeline, and could be happy, right? Besides SXA, because not all solutions were done on SXA, in the good old MVC world without SXA, we did exactly the same. We built a custom random field pipeline. We had some items somewhere defined, like dictionary entries, so they had a key, a phrase, and we just changed in the random field pipeline the value of the token. Additionally, what we came across when we researched for content tokens is also something like, in the good old world, we imported a lot of data from third-party systems into XP, or XM later on, and even worked with data resolvers at some points. So also these values could be the changing value for our tokens. What has changed? With the headless implementation, we have no CP server anymore. We have Edge. You all know, experience Edge. When we publish to Edge, we get the JSON structure combining layout and the data, partially at least. And we do have the strong recommendation by Sitecore, we should customize the CM server. So how are we going to solve it if we cannot customize it? So we can't use the random field pipeline, it doesn't exist anymore. And, oh yeah, that's the next point. And there's also this disconnect, right? So we have our CM server, and we do have our front-end application. It's headless. It has no connection. So what are we going to do? The same for data resolvers. We don't import any data anymore into XM Cloud, because right now, when we speak about headless application, that means our front-end application is the central point of everything. So we grab external data from third-party systems directly into our head. So there's no chance to have items in the XM Cloud which then are somehow connected to a third-party system and then change the value, right? So let's see. We have 2 different solutions, and with that, I hand over to Christian.
Thank you. So possible headless solutions, specifically talking about XM Cloud, because all this applies to XM Cloud. We don't want you to customize the CM server of XM Cloud. So how do we solve it? We have to solve it somewhere else, meaning the head application. So technically speaking, that's a little bit of code from our latest content SDK. And technically speaking, we have our head application. We have static site generation or incremental static read generation. So we grab content from the experience edge as JSON. And what we could do, we could hook in and just manipulate that layout response on build time. And that's exactly the place, like, hey, there's a get page, it will return up the page, and there's a get personalized layout. That's just an example how we are doing personalization right now. Like we are grabbing the layout response, and on top we are traversing through the layout response and replacing, for example, personalization, which should be applied. If you heard about embedded personalization, embedded tracking, and CDP, that's exactly how we're solving it. Like the layout response gives us all the information to apply personalization. So you could think of why not doing the same, like traversing through the layout response. Oh yeah, there's a content token, and then I will replace it with whatever is needed. That's a possibility, and some people already blogged about it, and yeah, it works. But think about what if you need to do more with the layout response, like not only personalization and content tokens, but more pieces of functionality, like they stack on top of each other, like we're traversing multiple times through the layout response again and again and again. The order has to match what you are thinking of, like it becomes quite complicated in the end. And again, the build time, like thinking about the static site generation, which happens on build time of the application, the build time will increase and increase and increase. So it might be a solution, but maybe not the best solution. So what could we do instead? Field level wrapper could be some nice approach. What do we mean with field level wrapper? You know the JSS or content SDK, we offer you field render helper, like the rich text helper or the single line text helper, image helper, link helper, like all these JSS or content SDK field level or field render helper. And what you could do easily is you could create one wrapper for them, or multiple if you want to stack them. And the underlying logic is the wrapper wraps that kind of functionality, like content token resolving could be something else as well. And inside, it just uses the under the hood, out of the box functionality of, for example, in this case, a rich text field. The good thing of having a wrapper like this is you can grab every occurrence of a field like this, and if you need to change the logic of a content, whatever, replacement, or when it comes to media and you want to manipulate a little bit the media files and path it, like you only have one place, the wrapper, to change the logic and to change the code, and it works everywhere. That could be a little bit of code, an example code, so like see it as a POC, see it as a simple implementation, like the wrapper, which is able to react dynamically on real time. Like you see here, the use effect, which loads the token in real time, so it's not only working on build time, but also in real time. And we can react dynamically on different render modes, like edit, mid, preview, and normal. We are able to inject markup if we want, so like we can replace the tokens in real time, on request time if we want, but also add a bit of markup, like in the example of content tokens. For instance, if some editor adds an invalid token and goes into preview, it would be nice to highlight, hey, dear editor, here's an invalid token. Please change it or live with it. Like it could be some are highlighted in a red color and the good ones are in a green color. So you could do fancy stuff in here, and it gives you much more flexibility than hooking into layout response and just changing the content on build time. With that said, I will try to give you an example. So let me see. Going into the system, I will use the content editor just for the sake of simplicity. And you see, our implementation just has any folder tokens under settings. It could live everywhere. And what we have is some lockout, obviously. Going back to settings, to the token. So we have two tokens right now available. I mean, you can also have a fancy folder structure, again, sake of simplicity. And you see, we decided to have just double curly brackets. It could be a dollar sign, it could be whatever you want. Just the key and a value. That's exactly the simple case. Someone wants to define a placeholder for a specific piece of content. Could be a text, could be a key number. We had a customer case where the customer said, I want to control a number. And the number, for instance, was the number of employees in the company. And this might change, but they don't want to adapt each and every rich text editor where they talk about their employees. So why not having such a case like, yeah, number of employees, and I don't know, number of bugs. It could be everything. If you now go to the page builder, and I'm pretty sure I have to reload this as well, so let me do that. And again, it's a skate park example, pretty simple, just focusing on the major point, like I enabled the rich text wrapper on the rich text field. I can enable it wherever I want, and I just started typing in together with my content token. And here is a very simple example. I'm using a valid bugs, I'm using a valid employees, I'm using a very special type, I will explain in a second, and I'm using something. If you now go, for example, into the localhost app, and you see I reloaded just a second ago, and you see I can reload again, just that you believe me, and scroll down, demo gods are good. So it replaced in real time without any flickering effect which might appear, and it replaced all the content tokens, like the two bucks, the 10 employees, and you even see that I'm getting the real now time. I'm telling you how I did that. And an invalid token, like, yeah, that one cannot be resolved. And that's exactly how it should work. Like, in real time, it replaces the token it knows with the real values. And what I can do is easily, I can go in here and say, we have 100 bucks. I save. It works because I'm accessing the preview endpoint, not the live endpoint. And we have 100 bucks. So it's really quick. It doesn't have flickering, loading, whatever. It's simply working. And that's how content tokens could be implemented. A little bit of custom code like key value pairs, and a little bit of logic in our Visual Studio. And that's what I also want to share. Like the first place, let me load this. So the rich text is the first thing you see. There's a rich text component, and it now uses our rich text wrapper instead of the rich text field. Nothing fancy going into the rich text wrapper. We see the logic we saw earlier in the screen with a little bit of extensions and a little bit of logic like, hey, do we really want to replace things? No, then use the, in this case, JSF rich text. That's how it's named. We can do the replacement live, and if it's edit mode, again, rich text field. If it's preview, we can even add some logic on top. Like in the preview, I just decided, hey, please give me additional information. I will show you on slide, because the preview mode check doesn't work because I did not deploy my local code to the editing, or it simply take now too long. I will show you on slide how that looks like, but I decided, okay, in preview mode, I want to give the editor also the capability of seeing all available tokens. Like, oh yeah, there's a token, I just misspelled it, so change it. That's also possible in that kind of scenario. And in normal mode, I decided, okay, I want to have the React standard field of, or React standard handling of this dangerously set in HTML. I could also do it differently. It doesn't matter, just for the demo purpose. That's a component, and the core functionality in here is the handle token. The handle token which happens and which replaces based on the loaded token. How does it look like? That's pretty easy. Let me go to, where is it, services. Yeah, token service. Again, just one possible way how to implement it. First of all, the load token. Let me get that one pretty quickly. So load token. This load tokens is executed on build time and on request time. So I always have valid tokens, and it uses two lists. And now we are coming to the place where I talk about the now token. So the fetched token are the tokens from the CMS, and it's pretty simple. I mean, I was lazy, so I did it this way. Context ID, Edge platform, we have helper to do that, and a simple GraphQL query to get all these tokens from my settings, to load it, and to map them into the format I need. And that's it. These are my CMS tokens. And the functional tokens, which are pretty fancy in the sense that you can define them however you want. In this case, I wanted to hardcode them here. You can also have them available in the backend. And there is some kind of functionality, like a function call. In this case, it just gives me my daytime now. but it could also be an external data integration baked into our handle token or load token wrapper. Like we can do whatever we want and just connect a specific token with a specific piece of functionality which is executed, which also could be like an external API call, get me a product price, get me whatever I want. So in this case, again, a simple example, and the ultimate result is a big list of key value pairs, like the token and a real value, or the token and a function call. And that's how you can also do it in React, like pretty simple string or functional string, but that's technical detail. And in the end, the fancy logic in here, I mean, that's not rocket science. Handle token is, it searches very simply for those tokens. It also starts to react on edit, preview, or normal if you want. It can even inject some colors, and it can even go down to, hey, what kind of token do I have? What do I need to replace? So pretty basic standard load token, replace token, and you can do whatever you want in here. It should demonstrate that the implementation is pretty easy. So again, I mean, we had a webinar earlier, and one of my statements was, how long did it take to implement it? And again, this one took me an hour or two, like from the beginning to the end, and it's done, it's working, no flickering, it's nice. You can build on top of that whatever is your customer use case. So the message should be, it's not that bad. It's maybe 100 lines of code, and everything is working like you would have like it to work. And you will see the preview can also bring a little bit more functionality. Coming to that point, a little bit of slideware. How does it look like? I mean, I showed you the backend editing, the page builder, which then we are via inline editing, we can add some stuff, and it is replaced in real time. The video I skipped because my demo worked perfectly fine. Now the preview, and you see already the preview could be some coloring. So I started to highlight what is valid and invalid. So like the invalid could also be red, but again, I was lazy. But the valid ones are green, so like I highlight, these are replaced tokens, it's worked, everything fine. The below ones, just think of them as a tooltip, think of them as an overlay, like on hover, on click, just for the demonstration purpose. If I click on that, I get a list like, hey, dear editor, these are all the tokens which are now available, and then again, grab them from the backend, and you can even build a fancy logic on top, like you click on that to insert it somehow into the rich text editor. I mean, the possibilities are limitless. The underlying technique is important, and that's what I showed you just a minute ago. With that said, we are done with the overall program of content tokens, and we would like to open up for discussion if you have other ideas, if you like it or not. So
we can maybe start with pros and cons.
Yeah.
So thinking about the traversing of the layout response. And Christian already mentioned a couple of downsides of it. If you think about you have to stack more than just one logic. I would add to that, what happens if you have like 35 renderings on your page? So the layout response gets pretty big. And then think about you have to traverse through it 3, 5, 6 times. So I think the performance of the build could raise exponential. It feels like that.
Yeah, and that's an issue for many customers. Think of sites which have not only one page, but 1,000 pages, 10,000 pages, and each now starts to escalate that way. Like you click on the cell, for instance, or Netlify on build, and it doesn't take 2 minutes, it takes 30 minutes, 50 minutes. Like, that's bad.
Could we think about maybe combining the two approaches? So I'm thinking about, okay, if you have a handful of tokens, which you always have to replace with the same things. So you could work with regex.
Sure.
What do you think about? So it just came to my mind. It's not, there's no playbook here. But I was thinking a couple of things should be there on build time. I mean, email. It's my classic example. And if you have a handful, why don't you just use them and maybe use regex? Because you only have these couple of ones, and then use the field wrapper for the additional ones. And the token service, where you can place in also your third-party integrations, so you can have a, we had a client case where they had an API which delivered bank data, actually fund data, and it was every day 9 a.m. if I'm not mistaken, right? And we were thinking about how to do that, ended up with the field level wrapper, obviously, but I'm still thinking of, is it possible to somehow check if it's in a certain time frame, then use the functionality, otherwise, I don't know, have a cache where you can get it from. So in the functionality, you could have obviously, in a function, when you get the new value from the API, you could write that new value to a cache, and next time you would use it from the cache, so the performance would be better. But we're talking about next, so maybe it's not that imperformed.
No, it's not. And the good news is that fetch, for instance, native fetch from React and Next already has a fancy caching mechanism. Like, yeah, it fetches, and if it understands the fetch was like 10 seconds ago, it uses a cached version. Like, I also measured the time to load the tokens. The initial one was 150 milliseconds, which is pretty typical to access Experience Edge. And the further the calls afterwards was like 100 milliseconds, 90 milliseconds, 70 milliseconds, so it's really, really fast. And if it Next.js decides to revalidate the cache automatically, again, we have one time a little bit higher, 150 milliseconds, and then it's again lower. And you can even control that caching, so yeah.
Right. So anybody of you have an opinion to share? Did you come across content tokens in XM Cloud already? Or think about it? Okay, then we hope we could motivate you to use the field wrapper now. And if you have any questions, for sure you can reach out. We can share the demo code, no problem.
Yeah, maybe one question.
Yeah.
Do you have, I mean, something as well, any example of any existing client using that?
We could have, but most likely we are not allowed to share that. So that's pity, man. Because if I know cases where we used it, it was like POC cases, so like not public available, but as soon as the customer would go live, we could tell, yeah, that customer is using it. But there are at least 1, 2, 3 customers I know who are using content tokens similar way, the same way, like with field level wrapper. And the good thing of that approach is it can also be used in many, many other scenarios and would save a lot of time, implementation time and maintenance time afterwards. So, I mean, comes into my mind thinking of link fields, and the latest feature we have enabled in JSS, like disabled prefetching. If someone is familiar with that, whenever a page loads and the page recognizes link field and prefetching is enabled, it tries to fetch all the content from these links in addition to be lightning fast. But imagine you have 100 links on your page. It loads 101 pages immediately at the second of loading of the simple page. Like, that's maybe an overkill. So you can even disable that prefetching if you don't want that. It's a trade-off between calls you have to make and the availability of content. What I want to say is it's a simple property, but now without field level wrapper, you have to do it on each and every link field all over your solution. With a field level wrapper, it's like, yeah, I changed it one time, and it's just like a second of work versus a second of work per occurrence. It's like it makes a difference in the future and the maintainability of such things. So,
All right.
now we are done.
Thank you. And the food is there.
Just 1 second, sorry. Let us switch on.
You guys can hear me okay? On top? So this is going to be about 2 minutes long because Sebastian's done my job for me. So there's no, no, it's fine. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into the content SDK. So before we get into that, just a quick introduction. So a few of you here I've worked with in the past, but for those who don't know me, my name's Nick Allen. I have a scary similar background to Anna in that I've been working with Sitecore for 18 years now, same number. I also come from agency and a consulting background. I like golf, so there's that. I'll talk to you about how far you're later. But more recently, I founded a new boutique agency that specializes in Sitecore. And I've also been an MVP 8 times. So that's the only number I have that's a little bit higher than Anna's, so I'm sorry. So today we're going to talk about why has Sitecore introduced the content SDK. Hi Christian, no pressure. So why does the content SDK exist? From a developer point of view, what are some of the architectural changes you can expect to see? Spent quite a bit of time in some code, looking at some samples. The last time I did this presentation 2 weeks ago in London, it was right at the same time that Cloudflare had a global outage, and everything I depended on wasn't working. So I am going to offer to the demo gods today, because I didn't that time, and I think that's why Cloudflare had issues. So, but I also have recordings, just in case. And we'll talk a little bit about migration. So if you're currently on JSS, how can you get to the content SDK? What is the current status of the SDK? And then I'll just finish with some conclusions and some of my observations since I've begun working with it. Quick step back in history. So if you've worked with a site called JSS, it was released in 2018 on version 11 by this crew of people down here, plus others, I'm sure. This picture was taken off Corey's blog, which is still out there. In 2020, we had Sitecore 10 and version 14 of JSS. And then, of course, in 2022, the big changes, we got XM Cloud. And that gave us version 20.1. And today, in 2025, we've just had 22.7 released. So somewhere between 2022 and 2025, JSS became a little bit problematic for Sitecore. And we'll get into the reasons why. Christian, if I do misrepresent anything, feel free at the end to pull me up on it and say that isn't correct, but I'll do my best. So essentially, the content SDK is Sitecore's answer to optimizing for headless development for XM Cloud. It is leaner, it is faster. As Sebastian already mentioned, there's a drastic reduction in the number of files that you get in the SDK itself, and also the starter kit. And some of the stats that Sitecore have shared around this are around core web vitals. So just by swapping from JSS to the content SDK, you can save around a couple of 100 milliseconds on first contentful paint and some other metrics. A much sort of more simplified project structure, and things like no need to support Experience Editor, obviously because we're targeting XM Cloud. And then a couple of version bumps, so Next.js 15 supported, along with React 19. So it isn't, there's a lot in there that's about size, but it isn't just about size, it's about focus. And I think that's one of the key things. Whilst I was preparing this, I did a little bit of digging around in some stats on front-end frameworks and what people are saying out there. This seems to be, and these are stats from 2024, so they're a little bit out of date, but there seems to be a growth in popularity of things like Svelte and Vue, even though React is still the most widely used framework out there. You can kind of see React at the top there in 2022 start to lose a bit of favor. And then we've also got things like Astro, which doesn't have a lot of mainstream use right now, but if you look at kind of the frameworks that people are getting more excited about, Astro sort of sits up there at the top. And if you look at the way that these frameworks position themselves, they focus primarily on performance of your front-end implementations and the simplicity of use from a developer's point of view. And specifically in the case of view reduction in boilerplate. So these are all things that I also see happening in the content SDK. I don't know if this is factoring into some of Sitecore's decision making around the SDK, but I just thought that was an interesting comparison. Architecturally, there are 4 main areas where you're going to see quite a bit of difference between JSS and the content SDK. So if you've worked with JSS, you'll know that a lot of configuration is scattered all over your kind of starter kit. Some of it's in a temporary config folder that gets generated at build time. Some of it's in package.json. Some of it is in other places like JSS config. And sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to track down exactly where you should be looking for a particular configuration. So all of that's gone away, and we now have a single sitecore.config.ts, and everything is in there. Now, as of version 0.2.0, if you look at sitecore.config.ts, there's 1 line of code in there, and basically, unless you have a reason to change the default config, you don't need to touch it. And if you do want to touch it, you just extend the bits that you need, and if you want to work with the config, you import that. So it's a single thing to go to manage your configuration, it's a single thing to import to use your configuration. It is about Sitecore configuration, it's not about your custom configs, so that's not a place to put those, but it is much neater. Then we have the removal of the support for the REST APIs. Obviously, XM Cloud is GraphQL only, so we now have 1 single file for all communications between your application and Sitecore in terms of fetching content. So again, in JSS, we have separate classes for fetching dictionaries, for fetching error pages, for fetching page props, and so on. And all of that's now consolidated into a single sitecore.client.ts file. And also, we have a big change in the way that middleware works. So at the moment in JSS, there's very much a plugin architecture. So you have a set of plugins, and we'll see it when we start looking at code. And that's kind of all gone away. So plugins have gone away as a thing, and now in the middleware we have a new pipeable paradigm, so it's much clearer to see what the flow of execution is, and we'll see that. Get static props and page props is one of the areas where actually content SDKs, there's actually more going on in your get static props than there used to be, but I do think it's a good thing. It's much clearer from a developer point of view to see exactly what's happening in get static props when you're building out your pages, and it's clearer if you need to customize it exactly how it's been customized. And again, there'll be some demo for that. So, kind of summarizing in a table, we've got JSS on the left, content SDK on the right, configuration kind of scattered, content SDK unified, middleware based on a plugin architecture. Now it's based on a pipeable defined middleware. Page props factory, a little bit difficult to debug. Now, if you don't have issues with the page props factory, it's fine. Actually, if you add plugins in there, it's reasonably not terrible to extend page props factory. It's just when things aren't working as you expect, it gets a bit tricky. And now it's more transparent. Data fetching in JSS can support REST or GraphQL, GraphQL only on Content SDK. Visual editing, so this is one of the big changes. I don't have time in this presentation to go through the difference between Chrome's and the metadata approach to visual editing. Christian has an excellent 3-part blog series that goes into it in much more detail than I would go into, so I would refer you to that. And in terms of your project footprint, much leaner in the Content SDK. Still no app router support. Yes, I know you're sick of people asking about the app router, but it does pave the way. At SubCon, essentially, Sitecore explained that this was a necessary step. They had to do this first, clean up the SDK, then we can move on to app router. And of course, it's XM Cloud only. One little addition on component mapping. So in the JSS world, this is all done automatically for you. So as you add components to your source components folder and you build the project, JSS will scan through your directory, pick up all of your components and create these mappings. And that's essential for essentially creating a link between rendering items in Sitecore and React components in your headless front end. again, kind of a good thing in ways. Sometimes it acts a little bit weird. Sometimes it breaks. It sort of tries to generate, but is in a sort of half-generated state. I don't know if that's just me, but now you manage this yourself. So if you have opinions from a development perspective about how you want to create these mappings, if you want to use dynamic components, for example, then you can manage this the way you want to. And you can, in JSS, work with components and third-party libraries. You have to modify packages.ts to basically say, go find my components from this project in mind. So if you've got a monorepo or something like that, go fetch the components from over here and include them in my site. You can do that, but obviously now you've got full control over this file. It's much simpler to manage all of that in a single place. There was a mention about at SubCon about if you want to continue working with the generated version of this, you can do. I don't see any code in the Content SDK starter kit that does that. So one of the questions I had tonight is I'm assuming that are we supposed to take that from JSS and put it into a Content SDK solution?
It will come.
It will
Next
come.
version.
Okay.
We will bring it back in a better version.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, and then finally, from a development point of view, we now have sitecore.cli.config. So if you've got custom build commands or if you've got scaffolding requirements for your components, you can essentially customize all of that in sitecore.cli.config. In JSS, you can scaffold components. I don't believe there's a way to customize the scaffolding templates. But now it's much easier to do so, and I'll show some demo of that. And yeah, any kind of build time automation, you can also add sort of functions into sitecore.cli.config, and every time you build a project, it will execute those functions and do whatever you want to do at build time. So let's step away from slides, let's look at some code. So first thing I'll sort of mention is, oh, no, that's not code. There we go. So localhost 3001, that's JSS. 3002, that's the Content SDK. So they're both pointing at exactly the same site in XM Cloud. And so the point I'm making here is if you move over to the Content SDK, you don't need to migrate anything within your XM Cloud content itself or change anything about your rendering items or the way you would normally work inside of Sitecore. That's all exactly the same. So the Content SDK literally is a subset of functionality that used to be in JSS that's been pulled out, put into a leaner SDK. So if I have a look at the headers here, in my JSS app, I have filter, let's remove that. You'll see that I've got some custom headers in here politely asking AI robots not to use my content to train their models. So that's a piece of middleware running in JSS. We have exactly the same piece of middleware running in the Content SDK. So just to show that. So just a very simple example of something that you might do with middleware, right, is to add custom headers to the response. Now if I look at that from a code perspective, let's start with middleware in JSS. So there's nothing there. So in order to figure out where that custom piece of middleware is coming from, I have to go into lib, middleware, plugins, and find my anti-training middleware. Again, just a very simple example. But there's an extra step. So you can't sort of just look at the middleware.ts and see exactly what's going on straight away. You've got to go to other places. And then there's this pipeline sort of notion of order. And so the order that your pipelines run in is determined by an order property. and you have to kind of look at Sitecore's default middleware if you're using it and see what order that's running in based on that number, and then change your number to fit in that execution order, and then you might need to change Sitecore's plugins as well to kind of execute where you want them to. So it's a little bit, it works, but it's a little bit clunky. Whereas if I look at the Content SDK, we can see that we're creating a new instance of our anti-training middleware. So this is right in middleware.ts, and then this is our pipeable define middleware function, and I slot that anti-training function exactly where I want it to be in the execution order. So it's much clearer from a development perspective about what's going on, much easier to reorder things and so on. So again, very simple example. If you are working with, say, something like a product page where you've got multiple renderings added to a page that all depend on the same product information, so it could be that you have an image carousel, product images, or whatever the case may be, and you're making an API call to fetch that product data, you only want to make that API call once for the request to a page. So one way you can do that is you can extend the Sitecore context and add your product information at request time, and then just pick that up from your get static props in each component on the page. And so you fetched it once and you're using it in multiple places in different components. If I look at how we might, well, first of all, I'm going to have a little bit of fun here. So let's enable an example of this. And it just so happens that in this example, our products are Pokemon. And as you know, Pokemon appear when they like, and you never really know what Pokemon you're going to get. So in this case, I've got Charizard. And let's see, no, on the Content SDK, they've decided not to show up. But let's refresh the page. No, they still don't want to show up. Not this time. Ah, there we go, now we get new. So what's going on is we've got, well, let's take a look at the code. So if I look at this example in JSS, go to our catch all root. Again, there's no indication here that anything's going on. We just see a call to Sitecore page props factory, but we don't see anything custom happening in get static props. It's not immediately obvious where that code is running. It's a similar paradigm. We've got a plugin added to the page props factory, which is called Pokemon props, and this makes a call to a get Pokemon API, picks one at random and returns it. And then all of the components that are on the page know that Pokemon mode is enabled, and they replace their content with the Pokemon that's available. So it's one API call available to all of the components. If I look at the same example in the Content SDK, so again, get static props now has got more things going on, but we can see exactly what's happening. We don't have to look in a separate plugins folder. So most of this in here is out of the box, but then we have line 85 to 89 where we can see straight away that we've got an environment variable that enables Pokemon mode. We fetch our data, add it to the Sitecore context, and that's it. So it's much more clear in here that, how the customizations have been configured. So let's step away from plugins. And let's talk about CLI commands. If in JSS you have worked with component scaffolding, again, as I mentioned, there's no simple way to provide custom templates for your scaffolding. But now we have sitecore.cli.config. And in here, within the templates section, we can define functions that essentially define scaffolding exactly the way that we want it to work. As an argument, we get the component name, which is passed into the Sitecore CLI command, and then we can take that component name and do whatever we want to do with it. if you're like me, when you generate components, I like to have separate files for my types, my tests. If you're using Storybook inside the solution, obviously that would be its own file sitting within the same directory. I'm not suggesting you have Storybook in here, normally that's somewhere else in a different repository, but just for demo purposes. But currently this will only allow you to generate one file at a time. Now you can have multiple templates, so if you want to have a template for the main components, a separate template for generating your types file, maybe a test file, then you can have separate templates for that. But obviously in today's kind of AI world, we can use the Sitecore CLI commands and make them part of a prompt and call them in that context. So what I've got on the right hand side here is a pretty simple prompt that just sets up a context, defines a number of steps, and provides some guardrails. And essentially what I want this to do is take this, call the Sitecore component scaffold CLI, and which will generate a component for me based on this template, but then after the fact go in and do some additional bits for me. So let's see if this works. So this particular component is a hero component. So here it's going to call the Sitecore CLI. And fail, and then it's going to figure out why it failed. And try again. And then do a little bit of cleanup. And what we should end up with now in my content SDK project, we've got a folder where we have a hero component which has a to accept the changes, which has our hero component as defined in my template, and then a separate typed file sitting next to it with some sample fields in here. Now you can extend this if you want to provide a list of fields as well, and include that in your prompt to generate and scaffold out things within your solution. And one thing I want to do is take this a bit further, which is obviously we're working within Cursor right now, which can use MCP servers. So there are multiple Sitecore MCP server projects running out there at the moment. So you can imagine where you could run a prompt where we execute Sitecore CLI, scaffold what we need within our solution, then use a Sitecore MCP server to go ahead and create rendering items and templates and do all of that work for us as well. So, so not that you couldn't do this in other ways, but I think the CLI command we get with the Content SDK just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, and finally, I'm going to run a Storybook here. Just to demonstrate something we could do with the Content SDK build tools. So if I wait for that to fire up, you can see at the moment we have no story files, so there's nothing in Storybook. But if I stop this website now, I do Sitecore tools, project build. I've got a build command which is basically scanning through my components in directories and then picking up. It's a function, so I can read the files, I can see what's in there, and I can automatically generate documentation for those files, or stories in this case. So you can imagine the use cases for build time commands. It could be component documentation, it could be other things, whatever you want to do really. But the nice thing about that is it's all sitting in your sitecore.cli.config. So you can see up here, out of the box, we've got generate metadata, generate sites, and then underneath we have generate stories. And so you can just add additional functions in there that you know will run at build time. So again, that's quite a nice addition. Right, conscious of time, so back to slides. So migrations. if you're on JSS and you're thinking about the content SDK, the essential steps are, well, first of all, you need to be on JSS 22.5 as a minimum. I don't think that should be a trouble for most teams running JSS. I think most people have figured out that you kind of need to, every 2 or 3 sprints, update your dependencies anyway. So, well, obviously it depends on the complexity of your project and so on. Update some dependencies, sync some of the new boilerplate code into your JSS project, migrate your configs away from the temp config system and into Sitecore config, some environment variables. If you've got custom plugins, you'll need to migrate those because that's gone away. The component mapping, again, is now manual. So, well, at the moment, but soon not to be. So you can make a decision there about whether you want to continue to generate that automatically or do it yourself. I think the main challenges, and obviously this always is caveated with it depends on your solution. I think the main issues would be either getting up to the minimum requirement for JSS, or if you need to deal with breaking changes because of the version bump to Next 15 and React 19. But I don't think it should be that difficult. So theoretically, it's quite simple. And again, as I said, there's nothing to change in your XM Cloud instance itself. It's just the front end. But why don't we have some fun with this and ask a friend? So let's bring in my, no, let's actually run it. Introducing the Learning Assistant and Recommendation System, otherwise known as LARS. So let's see what LARS has to say about migrating from JSS to the Content SDK.
Good morning, Nick. How can I help you with Sitecore headless development today?
Oh, good morning, Lars. I'm currently doing a presentation at the Hungary Sitecore user group on the Content SDK.
That's great. I'd be happy to help you with your presentation about the Content SDK. The Content SDK is a significant improvement over JSS for XM Cloud development, offering a more streamlined and focused development experience. Would you like me to help you explain specific aspects of the Content SDK, such as its key benefits, architectural changes,
no, let's start with, could you go to GitHub and have a look at my public repositories and tell me if you find anything related to JSS.
I'll check your GitHub repositories for anything JSS related. Yes, I can see you have 2 relevant repositories. A user group demo app for the Sitecore Content SDK, and a sample repository of a headless implementation using Sitecore JSS with Next.js for an XM Cloud project.
Okay.
Would you like me to analyze?
Yes, can you look at the JSS repository and take a look at the package.json file in the root and see if we're on the necessary version of JSS to do a migration?
I'll check the package JSON file in the JSS repository to verify the JSS version. I apologize, let me try looking in the headapps directory, which is typical for XM Cloud repositories. Yes, I can see that this repository is using JSS version 22.6.0, specifically Sitecore.js, Sitecore.js Next.js 22.6.0. This is good news. JSS 22.5 or higher is required to migrate to the Content SDK.
Okay,
so
that's awesome. That's fine. Can you just also have a look at my plugins directory and see if we've got any custom plugins that we need to migrate?
I'll check the plugins directory for any custom plugins. Yes, I can see that you have one custom plugin that will need to be migrated, Pokemon Props.tis. All the other files are standard out-of-the-box plugins that come with JSS. When migrating to Content SDK, you'll need to refactor the Pokemon Props plugin since the Content SDK doesn't use the plugin architecture anymore.
Okay,
I'd like
cool.
to help you understand how to migrate this custom.
Lars, that's fine. We're going to sign off in a minute, but what would you say, in your opinion, would be a major benefit of upgrading to or migrating to the Content SDK?
The most significant benefit of migrating to the Content SDK is its streamlined and focused nature for XM Cloud development. Since it's built specifically for XM Cloud, removing all the XMXP legacy code, it's resulted in a remarkable 89% reduction in size, from 8.15 megabytes down to under 1 megabyte. This means a cleaner, more efficient code base that's easier to maintain and faster to work with.
Cool. Lars, listen, I'm running out of time, so that was very helpful. We can end the call now.
Thanks for letting me help with your Content SDK presentation. Good luck with your talk at the Hungary Sitecore user group.
Just a bit of fun. So, but there is a serious undertone to all of this, right? Which is, I'm personally particularly interested in the use of voice to drive development efforts, analyze code bases, run. I mean, this is basically a conversational AI loaded with a knowledge base for a specific reason, and also equipped with tools to basically call out to GitHub APIs and do what I need to do. So at the moment it's a read-only tool set, but there's nothing that would stop you from analyzing a repository, creating a new branch, making the necessary commits, doing all of that just by speaking to it and asking what you want it to do, right? And then obviously, human in the loop, you would come afterwards and check that it's all okay. But I believe that the bulk of the work could be done in this fashion relatively soon, if not now. So yeah, but for now, that's just a bit of fun. So, to wrap up, where are we? So right now we're on version 0.2.0. That brought with it the version bump, plus some improvements. We've already heard from Christian that we're going to see new versions relatively soon. I would expect a 1.0 release this year. I don't know that officially. I'm not saying that. I just think that's just me. I think it will happen this year. But I think the message was clear as succon from Liz Nelson as well, which is if you're in the middle of a project right now, it's a beta. So probably not a great idea to move to it now. But if you're starting a project, say tomorrow or next week, then I agree, I probably would start on this. I don't see any reason not to. There are some quirks that I've found while working with it, but it's a beta, you expect that. I don't know why this annoyed me, but when I did the project scaffolding step, at the end we got the Sitecore JSS, Sitecore logo, blah, 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 and I was like, wait, hold on a second, is this JSS or is this not JSS? And so I find that a little bit, for me, I'd like to see a very clear distinction between the two SDKs. It's Content SDK or it's JSS. Don't mix up the messaging or the terminology. There's some mentions in the docs when you're getting started for the first time about directory choices and things like that. I found that it doesn't make much of a difference, so just pick whatever you want. And the create app wizard, if you run that, it will say do you want SSG or SSR. If you select static site generation, what you actually get is incremental static regeneration. So again, it's just one of those things when you get started and you go, oh, can I have ISR? And you don't realize that SSG is ISR. We still have the default 5 seconds. Can we load that via config? That would be nice. And something that's never been entirely clear to me is whether or not it's safe to expose your context ID or not. Well, in some ways you don't really have much of a choice in the matter, because if you look at calls going to CDP, it's sending your context ID in the network traffic, so you can see it. But it feels like something that shouldn't be public, because there is a rate limit on Edge, and so if someone really felt nefarious, they could take your context ID and essentially DDoS your Edge instance by hitting the rate limit. that you are told to make it public during the setup in the documentation. In the upgrade documentation, you're told not to do that, so it's a little bit confusing. So, I think, yeah, I'm still a little bit unsure what to do with edge context IDs in that regard. And then just a very silly thing in 0.2.0, if you'd used the default component scaffolding template, it hasn't been updated to add the JSX import statement. It's a very silly little thing. But again, it's beta, you expect that. So in my opinion, this is a welcome change. I'm quite happy with it. I think it's as important for Sitecore as it is for us in terms of the ability to move faster and iterate on different roadmaps at different paces. Makes complete sense, and in some senses I think it's probably inevitable that once we got to this point that they were going to have to split apart. There's a QR code there if you want to pull down the GitHub repos that I've been showing today, not the last one, that's not public. Because 11 labs is quite expensive, so I can't make that public. Yeah, and that's it. Any questions? Did I get anything glaringly wrong?
No, all good. First of all, I love the presentation. You really got what we wanted you to understand, all the developers out there, why we did content SDK and what it means. Just things you cannot know, context ID, public and private context ID. You're totally right. Right now we have one context ID, and if you're using it in, for example, JSS, you have the tracking and you have the content you load with one context ID, which is maybe not the best idea. That's why we in the content SDK have public and private context IDs. And pretty soon, I don't know the exact date, we launch a feature called scoped context IDs. So you can define a context ID and you can tie a resource to it, like Edge, CDP, personalized, like search in the future. Like you can then have multiple context IDs which run on the client, on the server, and you can differentiate. That's exactly for security reasons to split it up, like that will come. And the 1.0 release will come sooner than you would expect.
Okay.
For sure.
Awesome.
We are recording. We are recording.
Yeah, I don't say a date, but it will definitely be sooner than expected.
Brilliant. Thank you. All right. I guess that's it then.
Okay. Yeah, so this would be the last presentation, I promise. We'll see how much time it will take. So basically, my presentation would be about unlocking Sitecore Stream and showing you the essential features for free. Obviously, this title was AI generated with Stream, just already showing the capabilities of the thingy. So that's me. So I'm Attila Orát, also you can call me Batu, and I'm solution architect at DML. And yeah, I was hired by Tamás back then, like 18 years ago. So it was a long time ago. So you can see some things that Sebastian already mentioned or showed you, but I will focus on the actual fun stuff, demoing the free features of the stream, because we have only access to the free features for now. And just a quick short introduction about the stream. I guess you know most of these. What could be interesting that is powered by Microsoft Azure OpenAI services, and the underlying AI model seems to be GPT-4o. At least this is what the stream said about itself after a couple of interesting questions. And also uses retrieval augmented generation, right? But it's mostly for the brand kit and the premium features. Yeah, so from the 5th of June, as you can see, the Sitecore stream can be enabled, free, for the free tier at least. You can just go to your cloud portal and enable it. And of course, if you don't have your access to cloud portal, then you can also try to get access to your cloud portal. And the last point is just something I found today, that it seems that Sitecore has a fair use of threshold of 50,000 interactions per year. They said it's not a hard limit, so you can go above a bit, but I guess since it's monitored, if you try to do something shady or you are sending too many requests, then you will be, well, punished eventually. Yeah. Just a couple of useful links if you want to check. So the first one, it describes what the free tier of Sitecore stream includes and what is included in the premium tier. The second one is the changelog, which nowadays seems to be updated quite quickly. So basically there were 2 features released yesterday, and there were additional 2 or 3 features the last week, so I have to update my presentation, but never mind, I think it's quite up to date until now. I haven't checked in the last hour, but should be fair. Yeah, as mentioned, it supports a couple of Sitecore products already. So there's a Stream app itself. We'll see how it works. It supports XM Cloud, XP Content Hub, CDP Personalized Search. And I think Sebastian mentioned Order Cloud, but I haven't found it before. So we will check all of these except for search, because the only feature there is premium only. But there is a slide about it at least. Yes, so in the Stream app, Stream app supports so-called orchestration, which is kind of a workflow management or Jira-like management. So you can have kind of user stories. It's called deliverables, tasks. There are some states. There is a Kanban board even. You can assign these tasks to other users, and so on. And the other features are premium, so the brand kit and brainstorming, so on. It's only for the premium version. Yeah, I included some screenshots about the feature, but I will show them to you as just, if you want to check the presentation later, maybe you will see these and you can get back into this feeling that you are now, so like reliving the memory, something like that. Yeah, so this is how the Kanban board looks, and the timeline. And that's it. And now demo time. Yay. Okay, not that one. Yeah. So, okay, it's not the one I wanted. Let's try this. Okay, so it's my cloud portal, at least one of them, and you can see there's a stream link here. So you can click it, you have this sidebar, you can open the app. There is this link, this is an important link, we'll get back to it later, and you can also access the sub-pages, sub-features. So this is the dashboard. Basically this displays that orchestration feature with the tasks assigned to you, and some important information for project managers kind of things. You can create, of course, projects. I already have 2 projects created, lovely names, and here you can see the deliverables. It's kind of user stories, and the new feature that was actually released yesterday is this one. So now you can create the deliverables based on a short description. So you don't have to create deliverables manually, you can just add some information like this one. So it's basically saying that I want a website, managing Sitecore meetups, and admins can add new events with title, and people can attend, and admins should be able to create some reports. And if I click this, after some time, it will create some deliverables. You can add, you can save them if you want. So yeah, I like this one, I don't like this one, let's cancel it. Yeah, I like this one, I don't like this one. Yeah, so I have new deliverables. And if I click it, you can add starting date, funnel stage. Honestly, not sure what funnel is, but you can add assign funnel stage as well if you want to. And if you click one of the deliverables, you can have again some AI features, so you can suggest tasks with AI. Again, pushing it, that creates the subtasks, let's say that. And again, you can keep them, delete them, and so on and so on. Yeah, of course, if you have any questions or you want me to do anything, let me know. So we have the Kanban board. There are some statuses like not started, in progress, done. I could move tickets between the statuses. There's a timeline where you can see which ticket delivers starts, which date, when they should end. Also, you can create some dependencies between them. So clicking this icon here and then this one. So now you can see that there is this arrow between these two tasks. So now this one, not this one, this one. This actually depends on this discovery task. You can assign it, you can assign it to other users, and you can add actions to a task. And so you can see the list of products available in your cloud portal for you. For example, for me it's only XM Cloud available in this cloud portal account. And you can select the appropriate site, and let's say let's create a page. So basically what it does, it just technically creates a link for you, and if you click the action, you will be redirected to that page eventually. So here I have this publish page, and by clicking it, it will direct me to this site. So it's not that biggie, but yeah, still could be useful. Also, you can add the custom URL, so you can redirect the user to anywhere. Yeah, I think that's mostly what the Sitecore Stream app can. And also a new feature that was released yesterday, this interactions dashboard. So now you can see the number of interactions with the AI. So you can monitor if you are closing to the 50,000 or something. You can have it daily, or you can have it monthly and yearly. And it doesn't seem to be up to date, so the last point there is from last week. I don't know how frequently this will be refreshed, but at least you can see the tendency or something like that. And yeah, in the menu you can see, so this was the project. You can see the assistant, but unfortunately it's not available. Neither the blankets. So I think that was what I wanted to quickly tell you about the Stream application itself. So I think we can continue with the would you be so nice to come with me? Never mind. Okie doke. So let's move on to XM Cloud, which is a bit more interesting, probably. So we have these features, so you can generate some content. It supports some A/B testing, personalization, and you can see the previously created tasks on a dashboard. So again, if I go back to my XM Cloud portal, Cloud portal, always opens a new window, which is great. So I have an XM Cloud instance here. Let's open the app itself. So in the activity block, you can see there are 2 tickets assigned to me from the Stream application or its project management. So you can access it, and if you click it, then it will open that actual ticket in Stream app. But what is more interesting is the AI generation. So there is the sample website. It was actually created as a POC for our parent company WPP, so it's nothing fancy. It's kind of publicly available. And here, if you select a component, let's say that there is this content button on the right side that is optimized content. And if you select the component and say optimize content, and let's say just create a, message for the Sitecore Meetup attendees. So as you can see, it can find all the text fields in the component's data source item, which is quite nice. So it tries to create a shorter text as the title or header. This is not filled because this is actually a different data source item, so it seems to have only like one level of finding data source item, but obviously I can select the fields one by one, so I want this to, and you have these options like improve writing, make shorter, make longer, so let's make it shorter, please. Thank you. And that's it. And you can switch between the original and the optimized version if you want to, and you can, clicking this, you can just discard everything or keep it. Let's keep it. And now you can see the new version. Also, I think the documentation mentions some history here, so you should be able to see the previous prompts and results, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Maybe it's there, maybe it's coming. I'm just mentioning it. And maybe you thought you just quickly update this again, make it funnier or whatever. It's probably knock your socks off. Yes, obviously. And there is an A/B test button here, so I can create an A/B test based on that. It's funnier. No. It's funny. Cool. Yep. Oh. Come on. Okay, and then you can see there are 2 versions. There's A version with the old text and B version with the new text. And you can customize the whole A/B testing with how many users that the first version see or the second version see, but I want, conscious of time, I won't show that, but this is how you can also quickly configure A/B testing. Any questions so far? Also, it helps the same way the personalization, so you can create a new content with Stream AI and create a personalized version. Again, it's kind of the same. I think that was what I wanted to show about XM Cloud. Let's move on. yeah, forgot to show this fancy screenshot. Yeah, one comment that it seems that Stream AI only works for the page builder for now, so the content editor part of XM Cloud is not supported for now. At least I didn't find anything there, but in the XP version, the content editor will have some cool features. Yeah. So again, it has some AI-assisted content generation, item translation, which I forgot to show you, but I will show you in XM Cloud, and assistant brand kits and projects will be just some links, but you will show what I mean. If you want to use Sitecore Stream AI capabilities on XP, you need 10.2 or newer. You have to create the client ID and client secret on the Stream portal, and you have to add this connection string to your application. There are additional connection strings for the base kit, but since the base kit is premium, I won't show you that. Yeah, and there is a Sitecore package you have to download and install, and when you do that, in the content editor, you will see that lovely, well, icon, logo. And if you click it, you will see this, but again, let's just go back quickly to XM Cloud and pick, yeah, quite long text. I guess it's cool. So I can switch to French, yeah, the French version. I don't have a version, so let's create a new version. French, thank you. And I can just optimize content and translate. Oh, yeah. All right. So you can pick the target language here, and the AI will translate it. Probably it was actually Spanish what I clicked. Sometimes it's a bit slow. Sometimes it's actually, yeah, maybe it's too long text for it. Let's try something shorter, maybe. Oh, please, please, please. Oh, oh. Never mind. Let's try it again. Yeah, what? This, I guess. French. Yeah, so. Now it's French, I guess. Anyone speaks French? Yeah, so this is how the translation works in XM Cloud. And as I mentioned, for XP, kinda you have to do two things. So if you are on the cloud portal and you click the stream, there is that package you have to install on your XP instance to create the Sitecore Stream AI specific things, and also in the admin you can generate these yeah. No, not here. Oh, this is a cloud portal summary. So here in the admin you can create your own keys. Okay, so I have an XP, but geez, a bit empty, but should be fine. Oh my god. Try to be a bit faster, I guess. Yeah, so here you can see these are the, yeah, first of all, there are some new links on the launchpad. As I mentioned, the stream block projects, so if you click it, it will just open the projects. That's it. And content editor again. Yeah, we can stay here. So there are these icons here, you can click them. If you click it, then you have this interface. Quite a bit similar to the XM Cloud, with not that fancy shiny thing. What is interesting that you can have these select number of variants you want to generate instantly. So instead of just creating one and recreating something with the AI, it will create 3 possible versions from the prompt I give it. So like, yeah. And yeah, you can see I have 3 different versions, and I can accept the 3rd one, and it's updated here. So basically that's it regarding the text generation. Yeah, you can make it longer, shorter, fix spelling and grammar, change tone, kind of the similar thing. The translation works a bit differently. So you have the versions tab, you have the stream icon, and also here also if I switch to a different language, yeah, you can add the new version or add the new version with the stream translate, so it will create the version immediately. And if I click this one, or that is kind of the same, so it will display the same dialog after a while. Yep. So you can select which fields, which text fields you want to actually include and translate. Let's select both. And it automatically creates the new version with the, yeah. Ah. So, yeah. I don't know if it's correct German. There are probably more people here speaking German than French, but it's yeah, it's AI translated things, so it's what this is. Okay, so that basically what XP can do. So we can quickly move forward again. And Content Hub has a bunch of stuff. I added a note there because first when we created the Content Hub instance, I don't know, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I think we used the Play Summit template, but the AI features were not available there. Seems so. But from regular or maybe newer templates, it should be fine. So it has a bunch of features. So AI-assisted visual search, content generation, content translation, and image tagging is premium only. Of course, you can use your own AI service, but that's not stream. So if you want to use the stream, then it's premium only. Yeah, a couple of screenshots. So again. Well, not this one. Yeah, so Content Hub. There are 2 things, so interesting things. Content generation, just quickly. Yeah, so if you have a content created and you already use some AI features, already content, some AI generated features, then you can see that icon there. So this was AI generated, this text already. So in case of a newly created content item, no, nothing there. And here you can click, you can use any of the text fields. So clicking the text field, there is this, the usual icon there, and you have this pop-up. There are some, I don't know, useful things here. So write a paragraph about Sitecore Meetup. Yeah. So you can recreate or regenerate the text based on the prompt, or you can copy it, or you can insert it immediately and save it. Okay, what is interesting, so if you go to the Manage board or page, there is this AI features button here. And you can configure some of these AI features regarding the content generation. You can disable it, and also you can provide a brand voice, which is now friendly and confident tone. You can configure image tagging and the visual search. Not all the Stream AI specific configurations available here. Some of them are only available in the settings, so in the manage settings. Oh. There is also Stream AI item here, and you can also configure the similar things, but you will see that there are some special things that only configured here. We will get this back. We'll get back to this. And besides the content generation, the asset-related things are quite interesting. So you have this regular search, like searching for a cat. That's a cat, because it's just searching for, I think, the file name or some metadata. But you can use the AI powered search, searching for a cat here. Hey, we have 2 cats. Yay. So if the AI powered visual search is enabled, that when you upload a new asset, then the AI model will obviously process the image, create the embeddings, store the embeddings in the content hub, and use it for this kind of search. For example, I can search for woman in red dress. So it seems to be quite useful. Also, there are 2 other things. One of them is color search. I guess can be useful. And the other one is also interesting, that you can search an image by another image. So we have 2 cats available here, and let's try to find every images that are similar to this. As you can see, a lot of things returned. For some reason, we have 2 of the cats and a bunch of other things. So you can kind of control this a bit by changing basically the relevancy. So saying that return only the really, really relevant results. So if I go back to the settings, in the visual search part, not this one. As you can see, the relevance score is now 0.2. Let's increase it to 0.5, I think, or 6. So something bigger. And let's try it with the same image, finding all the cats. Yeah, so these are just the cats now. So you can play with that setting. And also there was a different setting. I don't know if you checked. I can just quickly show you again. So there is a list of denied words. There are some interesting ones, like alligator bait, and some very obvious ones that are forbidden to use in the search, like addict. So if I try to search for addict, then it displays an error message that I should not do that. So you can also add your own bad words to this list, or remove some of them if you want to. Okay, and yeah, also you can see some similar images, assets here, or not here, but let's see. For the cat, it shows something for the cat. Yeah, so you can see that that image is quite similar to this one. Okay. I think, yeah, and one more thing regarding the content generation. So I have 2 things actually. So if I want to change some partial text or part of the text, I can just select it and click the icon, and the normal or the previously seen list of options come up, so I can make it longer. Yeah. And one more thing about the brand tone. So as I mentioned, you can configure it. There is a friendly and confident tone. Now let's change it to something prepared. So speak with a childish tone, use the words wow and dude a lot, use abbreviations and statistics whenever it's possible. So let's see if that changes things. How does it change things? Let's try something longer. So let's have an article. Yeah, wow, dude. So it kind of can change the tone. Yeah, don't be shy, grab a drink, and whatever. It's all about having fun while learning, dude. So yeah, it seems to be working. So you can also define this, obviously, if you don't provide anything that it uses a natural tone or something like that. So with this, you can have a global tone for all the text you are generating. Anything else you want to add or you want me to test? No? Cool. So I think the asset searching feature is kind of nice. It could be very useful for sure. Yeah, I think I showed you everything. Yeah, just a quick note, as I mentioned, so there are 4 renditions here, but there is actually another one, or at least one, called embeddings, and that's where the magic stored for this kind of AI visual search features. Okay, CDP, and actually, as Sebastian mentioned, CDP and personalize kind of has the same code assistant features. Also, CDP has this Gen Insights feature, but it's premium only. But it seems to be available. At least I can check it. But first, I have to switch to another tenant. Yeah. So let's open CDP quickly. And dashboards. Yeah. So it says Gen Insights here, but it doesn't bring much. Oh. So it will generate a PDF. Oh, maybe it will work. Last time it didn't work, obviously. And in the developer center, you can either use session traits or create session traits or conditions. You can use this code assistant. So I have one test available. Yeah, there is this code assistant button here. If you click on the left side, there is a sidebar. There are some suggestions what you want to do, like the most viewed page on the session, and it will generate the appropriate JavaScript code. You can view it, you can use it, and that's it. I guess some IntelliSense, AI IntelliSense feature should be also nice here, just as a suggestion. And yeah, you can give your prompts. I'm not really in CDP, so yeah. So this is what it can do. It's like a copilot, just for a kind of a specific, very specific product. And yeah, so basically for the personalized, it's the same. I guess I won't show you that. You can trust me. It's the same. And regarding the search, there is, well, I mean, of course, just a quick reminder what happened today. There will be no tests, I guess. So, yeah, the question and answers for premium only users, again. So it's like if you have Sitecore search set up and it indexes some content, you can ask questions about that content. If you are interested in, if it's indexed that you have 100 employees, you can ask how many employees I have, and so on and so on. So, but it's not part of the free package. If you have any questions, let me know. I prepared with 2 questions.
I have
Oh, let me try to answer those.
but it's not because I'm new. So what? Does this system support Hungarian language?
Sure. I mean, what part? For prompt?
We were using French and German.
Yeah, you can add any languages, actually. And thank you reminding me that actually I skipped another feature I wanted to show you. Just quickly. You can add any languages. So for prompting, I guess you would use English because that's probably the best processed or yeah, by the AI models usually, but maybe it will work Hungarian. Honestly, I never thought testing it Hungarian. I don't know. Obviously I'm prompting in English.
And so, how long did it take you to learn that?
So this presentation,
No, the system,
which part to learn?
everything about science.
For me?
Yeah, how long did it take?
Well, how long was it, Tamás? So I started 18 years ago. On my second day, I started the Sitecore training. It took a couple of days, I assume, back then. That was okay.
And then one late, stupid question maybe. So you sell this product to partners and stuff, and let's say people get sometimes stuck. If you ask ChatGPT, I'm using Sitecore, blah blah, I'm here, what do I have to write to me for? Is ChatGPT be able to guide you through that? It's just curious.
I have no idea. I think they are putting more and more things about into ChatGPT. I remember that I'm using Copilot, which is using GPT model behind it, and I managed to get some Sitecore-related answers from that AI model. So I don't know if there's something that Sitecore is helping or pushing content into GPT, or if that's possible. Anyways. But eventually, GPT is learning more and more from the world, so it eventually it will, has more content. What I wanted to also show to you, as you mentioned, so for example, so also you can have a translate functionality in Content Hub, of course, that's called localize, and you cannot see it. Cool. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So let's localize, and you can create any content. Oh, that's would be nice. So let's see. First, generate some content. Please. Yeah. And I can, of course, localize this content just like that. And there's a translate with AI option here. And just enable it, and I can pick a language, and let's see what happens. working. No, please no. Okay, maybe Hungarian is not its favorite. Well, it's just sad. Yeah, so it should work with any languages, technically. I don't think why it wouldn't. Sometimes it's just cranky, maybe. Yeah, so there was no, yeah, so actually it was, yeah, Sebastian, sorry, but I forgot to update it. And part 2 with premium features, well, we'll see. Yes, Nick?
2 questions.
3 questions, yay.
2, just 2.
You want this one, yeah? You want the t-shirt. I knew it.
You then said Cloud showed orchestrate to create tasks, sort of analysing the content. If I wanted to create those tasks in different systems, so let's say it's Trello, Jira, Slack notification, or something like that, could I use the Stream API to run the analysis and then generate the tasks off the back of that? Or does Sitecore provide a way to connect with different systems and task creation?
I haven't checked Stream API, what it can do and cannot, I have to admit.
Yeah, from my knowledge, the Stream API currently only handles the brand kit part,
Yeah.
so that you can interact with this one, but not with the agentic workflows, covers all the project management and task management. I'm not sure if it's planned to have that.
The idea is to keep everything in.
Number 2.
An annoying question about interaction limits. Is that 50,000 per product, or if you had Content Hub and...
I think it's for the whole account. So if you have all the products enabled for that cloud portal, then it will accumulate all the numbers that you use for XM Cloud, XP, maybe even for XP and whatever, so that the number of requests that you use for that account, for all products that you have access to.
And then just a quick follow-up on that, maybe you haven't tested this far, but if you get it, does it just stop working, or do you get it built?
Yeah, what I found, and it was added, the documentation updated, I think, yesterday or something, when they added this interaction dashboard, that they say that there is a fair usage policy, like 50,000 requests per year. There's no hard limit. They are monitoring the number of requests, so if you do something bad, so I guess they see that you have thousands of requests per day, they will do something, maybe just warn you, or maybe you will be kicked out of the system, I don't know.
So someone's going to, it's kind of...
So now I haven't tested it yet. I had like 200 or something like that requests so far.
So one more question.
Okay.
Was that good enough to get a t-shirt? Maybe that's Tamás.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, should I decide it?
Yes, you are the cost.
Yeah. Come on, you can. I'm not sure if it's. Hopefully, it will fit you. It's yeah. You're welcome. Thank you for the questions.
Can I make a quick comment about commerce? Sorry, again, I have to. No, just because you mentioned earlier that you didn't know. So the answer is no. There is no string for the cloud at the moment. But in recent conversations with Mo Sheriff, our VP of AI and innovations, we know that the direction that is going is that potentially we'll be using AI more on the operations side, rather than just having one more chatbot available or something like generating a description for a product for you, because that you can do already with the PIM or with your other product. So whenever it comes, potentially, and this is absolutely extra official from an internal It's going to be more towards having insights on where inefficiencies in our e-commerce operation are, for instance, or getting better reporting and being able to query, the system about what's going on with your e-commerce and what type of product is selling more, what type of promotions you should be promoting more, and those kind of things. So a bit potentially much more towards that side of things than useless things like one more just chatbot for commerce, which already exists in the market. Okay, so just a comment. Thank you.
Thank you. And are there any questions? Well, you already, give the t-shirt to Nick. So that was the last session. Probably was a bit longer than expected. Sorry about that. You can still have some beer and water. And I think there is a plan to go into the city. I'm pretty sure there is one. So if you want to do that, just wait for us and we will start at some point. But yeah, in the meantime, and also you can have it. And you can have the stickers somewhere on the tables. You can take one of those, and we should create some Sukhu stickers or something like that at some point. Yeah, thank you very much.
We have a picture so that I can show how great you are.
About me?
Oh,
yeah, sure. And yes, thank you very much.
Let's have a group photo.